You guys remember when we were saying the Clintons, the Obamas, the Bidens are all corrupt and sketchy, and there's a lot of things that are unexplained. There's a trail of bodies, yada, 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 all these things. The whole Benghazi situation. What is going on? Why are they not getting held accountable for their actions or what we perceive to be villainous, evil, vile actions? Well, it looks like people are looking into that now. We have juries reportedly looking into all of them. And it's very interesting because this is something that we were like praying and hoping for in like 2016, and now it's finally coming to fruition almost 9 years later. It's all alleged, right? I don't think anything's set in stone to whether like arresting anyone or anything. But it is interesting to know that this is you're going this direction, and Megyn Kelly is going to be going over on our show. I'm going to play you this video. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to Resist the Mainstream because it ensures to YouTube that you're enjoying these videos, and in turn, they will continue to show up your feed and they'll push it out to more people. I'm Titus. Let's get into this video.
The interesting chronology shows that in March of 2016, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Arkansas informed the FBI's Little Rock investigators. Again, as you point out, there are FBI investigations in Washington, D.C., and New York, and in Little Rock, which is where the Clintons, of course, lived for many years.
Right.
So it shows that in March of 16, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Arkansas informed the FBI's Little Rock investigators that then Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates ordered the federal prosecutors to shut it down, to quote, shut it down. This is new per your reporting in the Kash Patel release. So that's March of 2016, Little Rock FBI is being told to shut it down. Then we get to August of 2016. Federal prosecutors in the Southern District of New York and the Eastern District of New York purportedly said that they would not support the investigation into the Clinton Foundation, according to this timeline. No explanation was given. That's August of 2016.
That's crazy. That was when she was running against Trump. Why would you refuse to allow them to investigate or give any sort of not credibility? Why would you not allow? Why would you just not allow them to investigate the Clinton Foundation if there's sketchy things that people thought were going on? That's weird.
In June of 2016, so in between the bad news to the Little Rock investigators that came in March, and the bad news unleashed by SDNY and EDNY in August of 2016. So in June of 16 was the Bill Clinton, Loretta Lynch meeting on the tarmac. We covered that on Fox News. It was such a big deal. Everyone knew something happened on board that airplane where they just happened to meet. That was the story they wanted us to believe, that the planes just happened to land at the same place at the same time in Phoenix, and they claimed they did not.
It was a happy coincidence, Megyn.
Not discuss anything. They didn't discuss any DOJ investigation. Nothing. But they never had problems again after that, as according to this timeline, John, with the Clinton Foundation investigation.
Yeah, you got it right. And listen, this is something I've been saying for a long time. If you remember 5 years ago, I was on Fox and helping people understand the Uranium One investigation. The Uranium One investigation was one of the allegations that this set of corruption probes were predicated on, that a transaction was allowed to go American and North American-owned uranium was allowed to go to Rosatom and Vladimir Putin's uranium agency around the time that large transfers of money went to the Clinton Foundation, and Hillary Clinton's State Department is one of the approval points in that thing. That's one of the predications that they were looking at the time. That detail was in the FBI's hands, but it wasn't in the public's hands yet. And there's a confidential human source that is assisting that part of the investigation. You'll see in the timeline, there's a mention of a CHS, confidential human source. So that's going on, and it's heating up. And I've always argued that I don't believe the Tarmac meeting could have been about the email investigation, because Hillary Clinton's lawyers knew by mid-June that the FBI was shutting down the email case, that it was going to be a recommendation of no prosecution, and they weren't worried about it anymore. I know that for certain as a reporter who was talking to Hillary Clinton's legal team. They knew in mid to late June that they were out of peril. We didn't know yet. We didn't know until July 5th, but they knew. They also knew that Little Rock was bubbling up on a corruption investigation. And I think the more likely thing that we all ought to be focusing on is, did that come up? in the meeting? Was there any mention of the foundation? And two, was some of the concern about the emails on Hillary Clinton servers, not the classified information, but what might have been chronicled about what the secretary was dealing with that had relationships to donors at the Clinton Foundation? I think that that is a very significant question that the FBI was trying to get to the bottom of and didn't. And I'm going to remind you of one thing we learned from Tulsi. A few weeks ago, we learned that there are 5 thumb drives of evidence in the Hillary Clinton email investigation that were never looked at. That is the explosive annex.
5 thumb drives of evidence that we never. 5. How much information is on those things, and how come we have not had access to those? Not even us. People investigating into her. Why did all that stuff get brushed under the rug? It's so sketch. It's so sus. And then obviously the meeting with Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, and then there's no issues after. Not one. I'm just saying, I feel like I'm in an episode of Scandal when I hear stuff like this. Like, no, let us see the thumb drives.
That got released with the help of Chuck Grassley, with the help of the president. At my request, I made the request to the president. No one has ever exploited what is on those 5 thumb drives. And we ought to now all be pressing to get that information. I've already filed a Freedom of Information Act request. 5 thumb drives. Maybe there's some evidence on those thumb drives that would relate either to classified documents or to the Clinton Foundation case. And I think that is a place now that if the Justice Department revives all of this information, that's a strong place that they're likely to start.
I just can't get over the contrast. They raided Melania Trump's underwear drawer. They searched
right.
Barron Trump's personals down at Mar-a-Lago. They uncovered every stone in an effort to get Trump, this FBI, Biden's FBI, and DOJ. And actually did bring criminal charges against him, the Democrats did, in 4 different jurisdictions. But with this, at every turn, John, they worked to dismiss evidence to, when they found it, simply look the other way. When they might have been getting close to indicting, been told no by the Deputy Attorney General or the Attorney General herself, not interested, it won't go, quote, too far. I mean, the double standard when it comes to a Clinton and a Biden on the one hand versus a man named Donald Trump on the other is shocking. And the dismissal of any evidence that downplayed their narrative on Putin's trying to help Trump, right? Like they had so much telling them that is bullshit. He actually didn't care who won the election. They worked so hard to dismiss the evidence that helped Trump and to play up the obvious false evidence like Christopher Steele dossier that would impugn Trump. But meanwhile, you've got 3 different FBI agents all driving toward the same conclusion, which is the sitting Secretary of State is corrupt. She is doing pay to play. You can only get access to her as the Secretary of State if you donate to her corrupt Clinton Foundation. And it gets shut down. It's the opposite. It's literally a 180 from what they did to Donald Trump.
That is so sketchy and so real, because Donald Trump, they're doing everything within their power. With the Russia collusion thing, nothing came up. And Hillary Clinton was like spearheading that whole movement. Russia collusion, that's the reason why I lost the election. It was stolen from me, yada, yada, yada. Illegitimate president, this and that. You know, you're sketchy. And like people, the FBI was very adamant that you were a corrupt individual, only communicating with people if they donated to your foundation. That is sketchy, that everybody was only wondering about. And they just threw that under the rug. But then when you have known from doing nothing on Trump, you have to create and fabricate things and like put him and his family through the ringer, raiding their house and all that stuff. Man, they're so inconsistent. They're so inconsistent, and that's shameful, shameful. But obviously, it didn't really work out. He's the president right now. But this is 9 years worth of like ridiculousness that we've had to deal with from both sides, and I cannot believe that. But hopefully, you know, justice is served. It's looking like it might be going that direction. Maybe it's a whole bunch of noise and nothing happens, but hopefully we get some more information on this whole Hillary Clinton and Obama and Biden getting looked into, and maybe we'll get results, positive ones, at least the truth. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to comment down your thoughts below. Can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Peace.